Good afternoon and welcome to ASF, the Ashland Seniors Forum. We are pleased to present an original broadcast of news and entertainment programming brought to you by the Ashland Visitors Bureau. We're excited to come to you live via Zoom, where anything can happen and probably will. We'll get to the news after this commercial announcement.
What's the nearest thing to California, but sensible? Where in the West can you find access to world-class cultural events, the great outdoors, small-town values with progressive politics, and no sales tax? It's Ashland, Oregon. Come for the theater, stay for the welcome. Let's ask typical Ashlanders what's great about Ashland.
Well, I like to call it the familiar vibe. When you meet someone in Ashland, you ask, what part of the Bay Area are you from? And right away you have lots to talk about. Friends you might have in common, ice cream parlors you used to go to.
Ice cream parlors, yeah. And when the wind is right, you know, we don't get smoke from California fires. We get just enough snow to send photos to our relatives in the Midwest to convince them that we don't always have perfect weather.
Right. For me, it's the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. 3 great theaters running a dozen plays a year and half a dozen smaller theater companies off Broadway. You can see the actors shopping in the grocery stores or dining in some of our fine restaurants. And people come from miles around for our 3 fun parades: Halloween, Festival of Lights, and the 4th of July.
Yeah, the 4th of July. And yeah, there must be 100 restaurants. So you're bound to find one to suit your taste and your budget. We also have a fast food restaurant.
Yes, indeed we do. And 28 coffee shops too. And don't forget the access to nature. Why, we have the Cascades and the Siskiyou Mountains to enjoy, and deer grazing right in our neighborhoods. Even the occasional bear or raccoon. Not to mention the turkeys.
Yeah. And excellent educational opportunities. We've got a fine high school, a university right on the main street, and the OLLI program, over 100 classes per term for senior citizens, medical facilities right in the heart of town, and cemeteries too.
There you have it, Ashland, Oregon, where volunteering is habitual, if not required. Remember, it's not California, but near it. And now for the news.
Good evening. This is the ASF Evening News, and I'm Chris Nelson. Here are our top stories. A Southern Oregon University technology team has developed a device that translates animal communication into English. Perhaps now we'll be able to understand what Ashland's deer have been saying. Ashland police are investigating a suspicious marijuana grow right next to the senior center. And in astounding news, Ashland's weather is predicted to be normal this week. Now on to the financial news, and you heard it here first on ASF. Stocks are trading vigorously on Wall Street on the news of a huge merger between Fairchild Camera and Honeywell Corporation. The new company is to be named Farewell, Honeychild. Let's now go out to our man on the street, Gabe Festus in downtown Ashland. Gabe?
I'm sampling the views of random passers-bys. Pardon me, sir. May I ask you a question?
Okay, I guess, but nothing too personal and nothing rhetorical. You understand?
What's your name, sir?
Ricky, that all right with you?
Ricky, I'm struck by the fact that you're carrying an AR-15 assault rifle.
Well, I got a permit. I got an open carry license in my home state, Ohio. You can't take her away from me.
I wouldn't dream of it. Please, there's no reason to point it at me. Do you carry your weapon with you at all times?
Well, yeah, I even take her to the bathroom. You never know when a bad guy with a gun is going to show up. You can't never let your guard down, neither. I'm always locked and loaded. So help me, Wayne LaPierre.
Do you ever consider the danger to your fellow citizens?
Are you kidding? Well, what if a protest broke out right about now? Well, I'd be the one who could protect these here buildings from them our vandals and looters.
I hear there's a violent protest scheduled for tonight on top of Mount McLaughlin.
Yeah, tonight? Well, I better get on up there and I better get some more ammunition too. I'll see y'all later, here?
A single-minded fellow, I'd say. Well, here comes a spry-looking gray-haired woman. May I ask your name, ma'am?
E. Somerville.
Dee, how long have you been a citizen of Ashland?
Oh, I was born here, Sonny, 104 years ago.
104. You must be the oldest resident of the city.
Oh, you tell that to my big sister, Ivy.
How old is your sister?
106. And she looks it too.
Dee, you're walking rather briskly today. Are you in a hurry to get someplace?
I'm on my way to the library for an OLLI class. Advanced improv.
So you like to keep busy with an OLLI class?
Oh, I sure do. I'm just coming from my yoga class after my morning writing group, and after improv, I'll meet Ivy in the park for some pickleball.
That's certainly a busy schedule you keep. Isn't it hard to keep it up?
Oh, I don't look back, Sonny. Besides, Ivy's lost a step or two in the last couple of years, so I can usually beat her 3 sets out of 4.
You must have had quite a few years of this vigorous retirement.
Well, you're right. I've been retired 8 years already.
8
Time
years?
sure flies.
Oh my God. What did you do before you retired?
Oh, well, after I got my MS from Caltech and my MFA from USF, I taught high school math and drama for 20 years. And then after that, I was a cook in a logging camp. That's where I met my first husband, got my MRS. After he died, I went back to get my PhD from MIT so I could be a GS-13 for the space program. I come back to Ashland with my second husband, another MRS, to teach physics at SLU. You know, astrophysics, quantum theory, fluid dynamics, nanophotonics, that sort of thing.
Tell me, Dee, what's your secret for living such a long, productive life?
Oh, well, I am a firm advocate of the benefits of taking a nap.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, I get one every Wednesday. But I got to run now, Sonny. I hate being late for improv. Bye-bye.
Bye, Dee. Thank you. Pardon me, sir. I'm interviewing people for a radio audience. Would you mind answering a few questions?
Nah, I don't mind.
Um,
Say, I heard of you, the dude on the street.
Yes, indeed. I'm Gabe Festus, the man on the street. What is your name, and are you a native or a tourist?
I'm Frankie Lencioni. In New York, they call me Frankie the Fish, but you better just call me Frankie.
Certainly, Frankie. Are you here in Ashland for the Shakespeare Festival?
Nah, I'm visiting with my nephew Giovanni. He's out here making wine on account of this region is getting famous for the vino, don't you know? And hey, his stuff is primo, especially the Pinot Noir.
Have you had a chance to take in a performance at the festival?
Oh, yeah, just last night. Giovanni took me to one called Romeo and Juliet. I seen the movie, and this was almost as good. It's about these two Italian kids, and they're sweet on each other, but the families don't get along too good.
It doesn't end happily, does it?
Yeah, you're right. The priest forgot to tell Romeo that Julie was only pretending to be dead. He comes in and finds her drugged out, and he offs himself with some poison. Julie wakes up and sees him dead, and she does herself in with his knife. Oh, poor kids.
Oh, truly a tragedy. Did you enjoy the performance?
Yeah, the costumes was terrific. The only thing was, I had a little bit of a hard time understanding all of old Shakespeare's words. And some of the people around me give me a hard time when I'd say, "What'd he say?" And then I got some dirty looks when I was unwrapping my Hershey bar.
What was the highlight for you, Frankie?
Well, I was falling asleep a little bit, I guess, but then I woke up and there was a terrific fight scene. Oh, Romeo had a cousin named Mercutio, and he got to play in the dozens with one of Julie's cousins named Tibble. Oh, they got into it. There was a rumble, and things got out of hand. Crucio ended up dead. Tibble too. Oh, a lot of excitement.
Well, Mr. Lencioni, it's been a pleasure talking with you.
Mr. Lencioni's my father. Just call me Frankie, okay?
Certainly, Frankie. Enjoy your stay in Ashland.
Sure thing. See you around. Oh, hey, by the way, if you see my twin brother, the other Frankie Lencioni, tell him he owe me a 5-spot.
Your twin brother has the same name as yours?
Yeah, my parents said it made it easier to tell us apart.
And now this commercial message. When you're in need of a fresh poem, call the Poem Emporium, where words fall into rhyme. For tongue-tied lovers, shy folks, parents of teens, middle-aged married couples, lazy students, and all kinds of engineers. Poems for all occasions, wedding rehearsals, best man toasts, anniversaries, birthdays, retirement parties. Apology needs. If you're in a hurry or an emergency, we do instant poetry. And for a modest additional fee, our poets will appear in person to recite your poem for you. Some advance notice required. We know you'll be pleased. Just listen to a satisfied customer, the other Frankie Lencioni.
Hey, let me tell you about my brother Frankie. The only poem he knew was Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And his girlfriend Lena's birthday was like tomorrow, see? And the stores was all closed except for 7-Eleven. So I made the emergency call to the Poem Emporium. So first thing in the morning, this guy with wavy hair and big eyeglasses shows up and saves Frankie's butt with the most romantic poem since old Shakespeare. Lena gives him a big kiss, and he slips the guy an extra 10. The Poem Emporium is a life savior.
Stop by our kiosk on the plaza in Ashland or call 541-541-541-1 to discuss our rates. All Poem Emporium poets hold bachelor's or master's English degrees. Whether you're looking for rhyming couplets or sonnets, odes or heroic sagas, the Poem Emporium has you covered.
When my late husband, Paul, remembered our first anniversary with a heartfelt poem, well, I burst into tears. I had no idea of the depth of his passion. You live in a tower, heart pounding with power. The force of a flower rains love in a shower. My love's like a peach and cranberry scone. My heart reclines like a prince on a throne. I knew from the start I would never be lonely. I rushed to your side, for I love you like chocolate. Ah, I keep this in my purse. Oh, Paul's poem, I mean, not the chocolate.
Hey, I don't blame you, because that was beautiful. Hey, ain't I seen you in that OLLI class I took on poetry? You know, the one with that classy teacher named Jane Awesome?
Yes, of course. You're Frankie. Everyone remembers you. Why, you had the most original insights when we discussed the poems. Remember when we read Ben Jonson's Drink to Me Only with Thine Eyes? Oh, that was always one of my favorites. It reminds me of my late husband, Paul.
Yeah, who could forget? At first, I thought it was a contradiction in terms or something.
Oh, but you took it on as a special project.
Yeah, when Jane said we had to scrupleize a poem, explicate it, I came up with my own special interpretation.
And it was the most original take on Drink to Me Only with Thine Eyes that I'd ever heard.
Yeah? Hey, thanks. See, I figured it was oblivious that the author's intention was misconstrued on account of it don't make no sense. Drink to me only with thine eyes. It's
Yeah.
gotta be what he meant to say was wink to me only with 9 eyes.
Oh, yes. You said your interpretation showed a deeper meaning, didn't you?
Yeah, wink to me only with 9 eyes. In other words, lady, we're really gonna get it on if you start out with some heavy winking, like 9 eyes worth, see? And I pledge to wink right back and we'll meet in the middle. See?
Oh my goodness. In your own unique way, you're truly a romantic, aren't you, Frankie?
I guess you're right. You know, you're pretty romantic too. Hey, what do you say? Would you like to join me sometime at one of those poetry slam dunks?
Oh, why, Frankie, you took the words right out of my mouth.
2 more satisfied clients of the Poem Emporium. For all your poetry needs, remember the Poem Emporium. Back to the news.
And now for this evening's weather report. Here's meteorologist Caitlin Sanchez. Caitlin, I understand you were sampling a little of today's sunshine at Grizzly Peak Winery.
That's right, Chris, and I was sampling a little of this too. Weather-wise, there's nothing very remarkable today. Just 2 hurricanes, Delilah and Edwina, ravaging Florida, the Carolinas, and the coast, leaving behind downed trees, overturned trucks, and flooding across most of the South. See, right here.
Same old, eh, Caitlin?
No, this is truly an extraordinary wine.
I meant the weather, Caitlin.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. There is a nor'easter hitting states from Pennsylvania to New England, while the Mississippi and Missouri rivers are near flood stage due to heavy Midwest rains. up to a foot. Hey, better wear your big boots, huh? And take a thermos full of this.
Sounds a little like last week's story, Caitlin.
Well, what did you expect? Hey, look at this. The Rocky Mountains. There we, whoops, where did they go? Oh, no, that's not the right one. The Rocky Mountains are buried in a foot of snow, hugging all the precipitation, huh? Because out here in the Pacific region, around here somewhere, there we go. We've had dry weather 8 damn consecutive months in a row with wildfires like you wouldn't believe and smoke all over the place.
How about the local forecast now, Caitlin?
You know what? Ashland will have sunny skies, mild temperatures, and good air quality.
Are you sure, Caitlin?
Of course I'm sure. Just lucky, I guess.
Thank you, Caitlin. And that's this evening's news. Please stay tuned for the ASF Players special presentation of Charlie Dancer, Man of Danger, following this commercial message.
And now, a few words about your feet and your outlook. You can give them both a treat at Mama Greenberg's Foot Spa and Passionate Advice Parlor.
Hey, darlings, I'm Mama Greenberg. Come on in to my beauteous foot spa and passionate advice parlor. Listen, you can soak your tootsies in luxurious hot water. Maybe some something there. Maybe some lavender. And at the same time, you can tend to your other end too. Naughty, naughty, naughty. Your head, I mean. Because while your feet are having a joyous time, we can work on getting your head on straight. I'm Mama Greenberg with 40 years of advice-giving experience. 5 kids I've raised and 13 grandbabies too. 2 sons, doctors, 2 daughters, lawyers, and the baby is a rabbi. Well, anyway, I'm waiting here for some poor discouraged schlemiel to walk in the door so sad and bewildered and walk out a mensch feeling 8 feet tall. Oh, here comes somebody now.
Hey, lady! I ran into a guy who said I need to get to a hoot spa. What do I gotta do?
No, not a chutzpah.
Not a hoot spa?
No, not a chutzpah. This is a foot spa. A foot spa.
A foot spa?
Yeah.
No disrespect, lady. I'm not gonna let nobody touch my feet. I am out of here.
Oh, but we can get you a little chutzpah too. Oh, what a mashugana. Well, anyway, if you got no one to go to get advice, get in here and treat the feet and find a path to put them on when you walk outside the door. Oh, maybe you got guilt problems. Maybe you lack self-discipline. Not to worry. We can get it straightened out. I am here, Mama Greenberg, to help a lot. I'm in the Railroad District, corner of 3rd and C. I can help.
Mama Greenberg's Foot Spa and Passionate Advice Parlor. It's not your grandparents' therapy practice, or maybe it is.
And now the ASF Radio Players present an original drama, Charlie Dancer, Man of Danger. In his office below an Ashland, Oregon furniture emporium, an intrepid private investigator contemplates life's vagaries and human idiosyncrasy. We join Charlie Dancer on a typically calm Ashland afternoon.
In my office in the ground floor back corner of a furniture emporium in Ashland, Oregon, I contemplate life's vagaries and human idiosyncrasy. While the world goes somewhere in a handbasket, I like to help myself by helping other people. I'm a private investigator. You never heard of me. I'm Charlie Dancer, Man of Danger. On my door, it just says Charles T. Dancer, MD. MD stands for Man of Danger, which I admit is a little grandiose, but I was hoping it would confer a heroic mystique. More often, it causes confusion. Several times a month, for example, somebody will limp in, clutching his knee and say something like,
Oh, hey, Doc, I got this pain in my clavicle. I need a description for a painkiller.
I'm sorry, sir. You've come to the wrong place. Try the hospital 4 blocks down, left on Maple.
and that was Vitamin, my secretary. I call her Vitamin because she supplies the real energy for this place. Her real name is Vinh Minh Vong, and she's the granddaughter of Vietnamese boat people who managed to get to the West Coast in the 70s. She got a degree from Cal Berkeley. She speaks 7 languages. I don't know what I'd do without her. I barely speak one.
Mr. Dancer, there's a woman in the lobby to see you. She looks like a pretty hot number.
Vitamin asked you just to call me Charlie, okay? Send her in.
Right, Mr. Dancer. I mean, sure, Charlie. May I suggest you take a deep breath? Woo!
I was about to find out what she meant by that. The lady Vitamin referred to didn't walk in, she flowed in. She had long honey-colored hair, full red lips, and more curves than a snake on the Pacific Coast Highway in August.
Good morning, Mr. Dancer. I need help.
At that moment, I could have used a little help myself. Trying not to stare too eagerly, I considered 100 responses. Finally, I came out with the old standby. What can I do for you, Miss?
Gwendolyn and Barrett, and it's Mrs.
Well, that took a little frosting off the cupcake, but it didn't make her less appealing. I said to her, right, you say you need help.
On your door, it says Charles T. Dancer, MD. You're not a doctor, are you?
No, MD stands for Man of Danger. One of these days, I got to change that sign.
And it says Charles T. Dancer. What does the T stand for?
Yeah, nobody's ever asked me before, but it stands for the, like Alexander the Great or Ivan the Terrible. Mom had a weird sense of humor.
So you're Charles the Dancer? How droll.
Yeah, my father was George A. Dancer. Grandma had a weird sense of humor too.
So I understand you accommodate people who need help, and you're accustomed to danger. Well, I need help.
Well, I'm at your service.
Maybe we should talk about the elephant in the room first. What was that?
Just a sudden musical intrusion for dramatic effect. We're supposed to ignore it. So you noticed the elephant. Most people don't trust their perception. They just pretend they don't see him. That's Durante.
Durrani, what a curious name for an elephant.
Well, his name's sort of a test to determine someone's age. My secretary Vitamin doesn't get the illusion.
I'm afraid I don't either.
Ah, well, that pretty much pegs you as a millennial. Too young to know about Inca Dinka Doo and Schnazola.
I beg your pardon?
It's a long story. Don't worry about Durrani. He's quite harmless. He wouldn't hurt a Republican. Just stays out of the way in his alcove over there.
May I ask what his function is?
Well, he makes a decent watchdog, but mainly he earns his keep by working for the furniture emporium upstairs. He's great for loading and unloading sofas and refrigerators. But we digress, Mrs. Barrett. You came in needing help.
Oh, please, Mr. Dancer, call me Gwen. And yes, I think I may be in mortal danger. What was that?
I think it was a trumpet. Just ignore the sudden musical intrusion. Go ahead.
It's my husband, Mr. Dancer. I'm sure you've heard of Lionel and Barrett, the business tycoon. I know he's having me followed. He thinks I'm having an affair and he gets enraged about it.
You were followed here?
Yes, I think so.
Vitamin, come in here, please.
Yes, Mr. Dancer?
Vitamin, take a look around the building. Mrs. Barrett thinks she may have been followed. See what you can discover, okay?
Yes, sir, Charlie.
And now, Mrs. Barrett, Gwen, I think we should talk about the other elephant in the room.
There's another one?
This one's metaphorical. I need full disclosure if I'm going to help you. Are you, in fact, having an affair?
Oh, yes, but Lionel's had lots of them.
I see. And you can't just get a divorce?
Oh, it's complicated. I'm what they call a trophy wife, and he needs me for his image. Oh, a divorce would be a problem for him. There was lengthy negotiation on our prenuptial agreement. You wouldn't believe how many lawyers were involved.
I would guess it was about his money.
Oh, you guess wrong. I inherited a very large fortune on my father's death. I loaned Lionel millions, 9 figures worth, which he used to set up his businesses. I'm legally prohibited from disclosing the loan, so his business successes appear to be his own doing. In fact, he's run most of his companies into the ground. Our fortune is an illusion, Mr. Dancer. We're wealthy only because of real estate holdings and credit. Lionel's too big to fail.
And I'm guessing you'd be left holding a lightweight bag if you turned a whistleblower?
Good guess this time. And he's made vague threats about what he'll do to me and Michael if I say anything or file for divorce.
Michael's your boyfriend.
Yes, he's a professor at SOU. Oh, I wish I'd met him 5 years earlier.
And you have no leverage at all?
Well, there is one thing. I have some secret recordings that incriminate him rather badly. They're on a thumb drive in a hollowed out book in our library, Ethics by Aristotle. I figured it was the safest place to hide it. He'll never open it.
Let me guess, you want me to collect this book so you can put him on the defense?
Oh, Mr. Dancer, I know it would put you in jeopardy, but you're a man of danger. And I thought, oh, if anyone could you?
Suddenly there was romantic music in the air. She gave me some marvelous eye contact and something in my brain tripped. I started nodding vigorously. I didn't say anything because at that moment Vitamin walked in.
Charlie, I thought you'd like to know what's going on. I think the powder blue Porsche parked outside belongs to your visitor.
Yes, that's my car.
I found 2 men hanging around that car and they were attaching something underneath it. When they saw me, they tried to grab me.
Oh no!
The last I saw of them, they were limping away, one of them bleeding from the nose.
My goodness, what happened?
You see, Mrs. Barrett, Vitamin has a black belt in karate.
Oh, really?
I checked underneath the car, Charlie. It was a small but powerful explosive device. I disabled it and filed it in the safe. Then I dusted the car and the bomb for fingerprints and filed them away too. Poof!
Oh my!
Vitamin has a number of useful skills. Your husband is willing to go to murderous lengths to express his rage?
Lionel is vindictive, arrogant, and egotistical, incompetent in business. He hires high-priced lawyers and fixers. He cheats. He leverages his reputation and what he considers charm to advance his fortune, but he's heavily in debt. He owes his success to holding property and being too big to fail. Too many people would go down with him, so they prop him up.
Clearly, Gwen Barrett was, as she said, in danger. We arranged for her to stay with Vitamin's brother and sister-in-law, while I set out to find her thumb drive in Aristotle's Ethics.
We'll continue in a moment with Charlie Dancer, Man of Danger. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Hello.
And now back to Charlie Dancer, Man of Danger.
Hiding in the bushes, I staked out the Barrett estate until late afternoon when I saw Lionel Barrett's limousine leave, along with a dark sedan containing his bodyguard. I eased up to the front door and entered the combination Gwen had given me in the control panel. Once inside, I found the library, and Aristotle's Ethics was right where Gwen said it would be. Inside it, I found the thumb drive, and I replaced it with an identical thumb drive containing videos of PBS folk and pop music from the 60s to the 90s. I inched my way back to the front door, thinking it had all gone too easily. Way too easily. Suddenly, stars were dancing in front of my eyes like an unruly chorus line. When I looked up from the sidewalk where I was doing an imitation of a throw rug, there was a sturdy-looking woman standing over me, holding an iron skillet in one hand and an iPhone in the other. I staggered to my feet and crabbed backward.
Hey, what are you doing?
Hey, I had overlooked the presence of the cook, who was apparently loyal to her boss and handy with a frying pan and modern technology as well. Sorry, lady, I must have got the wrong house by mistake.
I think you make a mistake, all right. I'm gonna call the police on you.
Wait, I think I smell lasagna burning.
Lasagna? Oh, it's a chicken and ravioli. And it's got 4 more minutes. Hey, wait a minute.
I had distracted her enough to get out of range of the skillet. I took off.
Hey, you come back here. I got you a picture. I give it to Mr. Barrett. You in big trouble.
Even with ringing in my ears and a growing lump on my head, I managed to escape. 20 minutes later, I was back in my office.
Keep this ice pack on your head, Charlie. It'll help keep down the swelling. Oh, and here's a couple of aspirin. It doesn't look like too bad a concussion. I don't think you'll need an x-ray.
Vitamin, you're the best. Here, take this thumb drive and make about 5 copies of it and stash them in 5 different places. Quick, I think I might expect a visit from Lionel Barrett before too long.
I am on it, Charlie.
Have you ever tried not to get a headache? It only makes it worse. But an hour later, another headache materialized. You didn't have to explain to me who it was that stepped through the ruins of my office door. It was Lionel Barrett in the flesh. With him was a huge brute with a craggy brow and hairy knuckles who had destroyed the door with Charles T. Dancer, MD inscribed on it. He was holding up an 8x12 photograph of me staggering around in Barrett's front door. The goon proceeded to tie me to my office chair. Easy, big guy.
Don't move, Mr. Dancer. I've got questions you must answer. My man Alphonse here will make you be quite clear. Make your answers true and quick, because Alphonse knows every trick to force the truth out. In fact, he's all about enjoying persuasion. Don't think of evasion.
Not exactly Lin-Manuel Miranda, but I had to admit that Lionel Barrett was handy with rhymes. He was a pudgy guy, well tanned, with a broad face and a French beret perched on his head. He seemed very easy to dislike.
Now, Mr. Dancer, let's have a straight answer. You contemptible louse, you sneaked into my house and then attempted to leave with something up your sleeve. Tell me what you took and ran off like a crook.
I didn't take anything, mister. Did you find anything missing?
Hey, boss. Boss, should I crunch him, huh?
In a moment, Alphonse. After one last chance, admit what you took if you value your life. Where is it now? And where is my wife?
Your wife? I didn't know you had a wife. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her.
Very well, Alphonse. You may crunch him at once. Just a light one, I reckon. He won't want a second.
Oh boy. I hope he holds out for a while because crunching makes me smile.
Now I had ringing in my ears again and an ache on the side of my face to match the one Cookie gave me with a frying pan.
You see, Mr. Dancer, your answer was wrong. I assure you, Alphonse is unusually strong. You don't want to learn how fierce he can be. So I suggest you... Oh, whoa!
I'll never know what the next rhyme would have been because then Barrett the poet was interrupted. I'd seen Durante sleeping in his alcove, standing up as elephants do. When Alphonse busted down my door, it woke him up, and he'd been watching our little encounter with interest. When Alphonse smacked me, Durante started walking up quietly behind Lionel and Barrett. Elephants can be very quiet walking. And Barrett got the shock of his life when Durante lifted him off his feet and held him.
Help me! Help me!
His face was tomato red with surprise and rage, and his French beret was just barely hanging on.
Help me!
Boss, what should I do? I can't get close. I don't know what to do.
Just then, Vitamin walked in. She sized up the situation in pretty short order and began to sing.
My eye on Martin-y-toi.
All the scuffling and confusion ended abruptly as Durante stopped swinging and Barrett around. He laid him on the floor and held him there with a gray foot.
Get him off of me! Let me go! Alphonse, do something!
Hey, lady, tell that elephant to get off him. Hurry up or I'll crunch you.
Hee-yah!
Alphonse was floored. He was floored quite literally when the 99-pound girl delivered a blurry series of kicks and jabs and flopped him down like a sack of wood chips in considerable pain. He hardly knew what hit him. Vitamin, untie me, quick.
Oh, sure. How's that, Charlie?
Thanks, sweetie. Can you do anything with Durante?
Oh, yeah. Sure, Charlie.
Vitamin went over and tapped Durante on the knee, saying something in Vietnamese. Durante backed off and placidly stood guard. Lionel and Barrett rolled over away from Durante and rose up to his knees, trembling. He didn't know whether to cry or fight.
Well, I see you've got the situation well in hand, Charlie. I'll go grab you another ice pack.
Thanks, Vitamin. Now, Mr. and Barrett, I have a few questions for you to answer.
We'll return for the conclusion of Charlie Dancer, Man of Danger, after this commercial break.
For more than 100 years, Ashland has been the home of a salutary resource for natural vigor, Lithia water.
It's right here in the Ashland Plaza, a free-flowing fountain of water containing lithium salts. It made Ashland a Western destination for health seekers.
I grew up in Bakersfield, and I was a failure at everything: sports, academics, personal relationships. But then one day, when I was visiting an old friend in Ashland, he dared me to take a drink from a beautiful fountain downtown. What the heck? I was thirsty, so I took a big gulp. Almost instantly, I felt a surge of confidence. Within a week, I started singing and dancing. People took notice. I started learning to juggle and play the banjo. Oh, the following year, I was given a role in the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. Lithia water. You don't love it right away, but getting used to it is worth it.
I've suffered all my life with leg length discrepancy. My right leg was 6 inches shorter than my left. The only job I was good at was as a parking meter reader. I could easily walk down the street with one foot on a curb and one on the street. And I was also good at side hill running. Unfortunately, on level ground, I'd only go round in a circle, always clockwise. But when I took up drinking Lithia water, my right leg grew an inch every few months, and now I'm always on an even keel.
Ever wonder why Ashland is home to so many bright, accomplished folks? Lithia water. For a sound mind and a sound body, remember, you get used to the taste.
And now back to Charlie Dancer, Man of Danger.
Two months later, things had quieted down. Vitamin and I and Gwen and Barrett held a little celebration in my office. Gwen and her boyfriend Michael were officially engaged, and she presented me with a handsome 6-figure stipend for my Man of Danger work.
It's the least I can do, Mr. Dancer. Michael and I are moving into a cottage in the railroad district. We'll be devoting our fortune to supporting the Ashland Senior Center and the Ashland Emergency Food Project and OSF and the Ashland Schools Foundation. So many good causes.
Oh, that's great to hear, Gwen. You know, Ashland is full of nice, cultured people. And now with a couple of the not nice ones like Lionel and Alphonse sleeping in the slammer, it's that much safer and more dignified. You right, Vitamin? What do you think?
Mm-mm.
Huh.
I am so proud to work for you, Charlie. You help yourself by helping other people.
You know, Vitamin, maybe it's time for the MD on my door to stand for Mellow Dreamer. I've always wanted to get a place over there across I-5 where Durante would have a little room to roam. And now I can afford it. I can still contemplate life's vagaries and human idiosyncrasy over there. How would you like to go with us? Maybe you could teach me some Vietnamese songs.
Will Charlie Dancer retire to a life of greater ease over there across I-5? Don't bet on it. Tune in again next week for another gritty adventure with Charlie Dancer, Man of Danger. Brought to you by the Ashland Visitors Bureau, Mama Greenberg's Foot Spa and Advice Parlor, the Poem Emporium, and the bracing taste of Lithia water. Until then, this is your announcer, Rita Rhinestone, signing off for the ASF Radio Hour. Good evening and stay safe.